We are live. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. We're going to do a breakdown of the Brighton, Colorado real estate market. But before we do that and jump into charts, I'm going to share with you insightful information for sellers. Guys, this could save you or make you or break you thousands of dollars. There's a mistake I see almost every single day when it comes to pricing strategy as a seller in today's market. And, the reality is your representation does matter nowadays. It used to be where 2020, 2021, I would even argue pre-pandemic, you didn't really have to work that hard. Anyone who's got in the business 10 years ago, I've been in the game 10 years as of last year. We kind of had it easy for a long time. But in today's market, it just doesn't cut it. You have to be really, really, really good at what you do in order to drive results and ultimately lead to your sellers being in the best possible position to maximize their purchase price and not sit on the market for 180 days. So what I'm going to share with you guys, sellers, is, and we're already sharing my screen. I meant to do video the whole time, but who's counting? It's 7:43. It's evening time. That's all right. We can make errors like that. But guys, I'm going to share with you just the most simplistic way of being able to read the market. And if you know how to read the market, that's going to give you insight to where you can actually price and take advantage of the market at hand. Okay? So I'm going to share with you exactly what you need to look at as a seller. So that way, when you hire a high-level professional, you can go to them and say, hey, are you looking at these things too? And keep them honest. Give me one sec, guys. We're going to add one thing here, and then I'm going to show you what we're talking about. First, as I'm doing this, guys, wherever you're joining from, thank you for the view. I would highly encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Like right now, you see that subscribe button, click it. And the reason for that is because the market changes on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, and I want you getting the most up-to-date information. Let's dive in, screen share here, market watch. So here's what you're going to look at, sellers. And then I'm going to tie this into a nice little bow before we get onto the Brighton, Colorado real estate market. This is specific to Brighton. This is a market watch. Really cool little graphic here. We haven't had this on the channel before. I can't hear, but give me a round of applause. We're not just using Word and black type font print. Let's go. So Brighton, Colorado, the last 7 days in residential, we had 24 new listings and we had 27 pending homes. That's it, guys. That's all I want you to take away from this video right this second. We'll get into more stuff on different videos, but what you want to look at is the supply and demand ratio. Now, there's other ways to look at it. There's other factors to consider, which a high-level professional should do for you. But as a seller, this one thing covers most of the other things, right? And so with that, why is this important? Well, new listings are how many listings are coming to the market, and pending homes are how many listings are going under contract. We want, as sellers, to have more homes going under contract than are coming active for sale. And the reason being is we don't want the buyer to have a bunch of inventory to look at. We want them to have nothing but our house, right? So when you go back to the pandemic days, 2020, 2021, we had about 10 buyers per one home. Per one home. So you had 10 people and you were the only option for them. Well, guys, I'm sorry, but this is just, it's not the market. It's completely no, I shouldn't say completely opposite, but now it's probably closer to one home every -4 buyers, or, 3 homes per buyer. Something along those lines. I'll get you the exact stat, but that being said, there's more supply. There's more inventory than there was in 2020 to 2021. And the one thing you want to look at is how many homes are going under contract / pending versus how many new listings there are. That's going to let you know what the supply and demand ratio is in your exact market. Thankfully, and I want to say this is for the first time of 2025 for Brighton, where we've had pending homes outpace new listings. That's great news. Really, really, really great news for sellers going into spring. Now, why is this important to you pricing your home, and how could it save you thousands of dollars, etc.? Well, here's the thing. I don't know about you, but I've heard many stories. Oh, well, my neighbor's home, they listed and they sold for this. It's like, cool, awesome. How long ago did they list? Well, it was like, I don't know, maybe over the summer. It was like 6 months ago. Guys, we don't want to price your home based off of 6 months ago. We want to price it based on today. And one of the easiest ways for you as a seller to identify what the market's doing today is looking at new listings and pending and seeing where the supply and demand ratio is, so you can tell how hot the market is. If we're having more listings come on the market and less pending, that's a slower market. That's more of a buyer favored market. Whereas as a seller, if you have more pendings than new listings, good. That's great news for you. Now, with that data, what do you do with it? How does this actually play into you guys selling your house for more money? Well, what you do with it is communicate it with your agent and say, hey, when you're looking at comparable properties, are you basing it solely on homes that sold 3 to 6 months ago? Or are you actually identifying what the market's doing today and pushing price against that so that we're pricing into the market, not against it? Meaning if the market's downtrending and you're pricing based on homes that sold a month ago, like you're just chasing the market. And what's going to happen is your price is going to fall and fall and fall and fall. And you're probably not going to be all that happy. You're probably going to get much less than had you just priced correctly at the start of it. And it's just not a great experience. However, if the market's going up and you're pricing in accordance to that, you don't want to price too high, because we don't want to price here and the market's going up and up and up and up. And we're like, yeah, we're going to price here because the market's coming at us. No. What we want to do is price like right here, right? Kind of at the top of today's market into trends. That's where you end up having the most success, because now you're not chasing the market. You're not waiting for the market to catch up to you, because guys, I'm sorry, but over the last couple of years, the market just hasn't performed in ways that really have allowed sellers to push price and actually get it. Now, that's not all the time. That's not in every circumstance. But what I'm saying here is you have to price competitive to today's market. And by knowing the trends, you're going to not only price per today's market, but likely be able to price according to where the market's going tomorrow. And that's ultimately going to set you up for success and stop the rabbit hole of price drops. That's not good for anyone. I think the stats about 70% of homes have 75% of your buyer showing activity is going to occur in the first 2 weeks. And then it falls off dramatically from there. So you could price competitive into today's market and actually take advantage of all those showings, or you can completely miss the boat and priced way too high relative to today's market and miss out on 70% of the opportunity you're going to have over the lifetime of your listing. Up to you, your choice. But I would heed some suggestion here. And this is going to put you in a position of power to make smart real estate decisions, even if your agent doesn't do the work. Because if you know what's happening in the real estate market, it's only going to help you advocate for yourself and be in partnership with your agent to hit the nail on the head when it comes to pricing your home. That is it for sellers. Now let's get into the Brighton real estate market. As you guys had saw, let's go to screen share here. We've got more listings going under contract than we did new listings coming to market. Let's go. We wanted this. This is really healthy, guys. I mean, you know, from a buyer, you might want something different, but all in all, this is, from my perspective, good for everyone because it's showing that we have a healthy market here. This is what the market's supposed to do in spring. Okay. If we kept having more listings than homes going under contract, I would be much more concerned with the overall state of the market and where it's going. Right here, guys, if you can see, 28 homes had a price decrease. More than there were new listings, more than there were pending homes. 28 homes had a price decrease. Buyers, that's great. Look for those homes. Your ability to get a deal in this market is much greater than any time over the past 10 years, aside from like end of 2022, 2023, 24, etc. But relative to this time of year, like this is good for you buyers. Not for you sellers, but depending the new listings, that's good for you. As we looked on the channel last week, we had 68% of the inventory for Brighton at the price point $400,000 to $600,000. Now, what does that mean? That means houses priced between $400,000 to $600,000 make up 68% of the market here in Brighton, meaning 68% of the homes for sale. So buyers, your opportunity is in that $400,000 to $600,000 price point because the market is, I wouldn't say oversaturated, but more saturated than any other price point, meaning you have more homes to look for and meaning there's likely less competition. So we definitely will keep an eye on that, likely on a monthly basis, just because there's probably not a whole lot of movement in those numbers. But one of the things we do want to keep an eye out for is medium list price. We're kind of flatlined right here. We're not seeing much of a price increase over the last 4 weeks of the year, specifically in Brighton. I expect that to change. We should see this upward trend in pricing that will likely start to show itself literally almost next week or the week after. If you can see this average price, sell price per week, what's interesting is this orange line, we got an increase from week 1 to 2 in Brighton, and then it decreased. But the decrease is normal, right? Because if you could see 2024, 23, 22, 21, even 22, the hottest markets in the history, all kind of started with this downtrend in pricing. And then about week 4 or 5, almost all the charts, except 2021, how funny, in week 4 to 5. But over the last 3 years, every single chart, week 4 to 5, shows an increase in price. And then that goes up and up and up and up until about June, and then it kind of falls off. So with price, we expect that to change. I'm guessing we're going to start seeing that come up a little bit. Good thing here, average days on market, we're seeing a little bit of a downtrend. Last week it was 86 days, now it's 79 days. The reality is, guys, I think days on market is a function of, first off, the general market and how trends and statistics are showing it to be. But more than that, average days on market is also a function of pricing relative to condition. If you don't price competitively to today's market and where it's going trend-wise, you're likely going to be on the market higher for longer. And that drives the average days on market up. But guys, like if you're pricing properly relative to the condition of your house and taking into account market metrics, then there's no reason you shouldn't beat the average days on market. So just kind of a little tip there. Again, more so for sellers. For buyers, look for those homes that have been on the market longer than 60, 70, 9 days, because those are likely the ones that might have overpriced to begin with. They're likely falling down this slippery slope of price drops. And I'm sorry, but that's typically the ones that are going to be more willing to negotiate than not. So that's what we're seeing. Overall, guys, Brighton, Colorado, I love seeing that we've got more homes go under contract than active. The market's heating up. We've got good showing activity. We're at 22,000 showings year to date, which is really, really strong, guys. I mean, really strong. If you look at this chart right here, I'm going to show you. Look at this. Come on. Can you zoom in? There we go. Look at this chart right here. So you see this kind of line, this orange line? That's the median throughout the last, since 2018. If you look at pandemic, right, 2021, we had incredible amounts of showings. Everyone was buying a house. Then the rates got high and showings tanked. And then about midway through 2024, buyers said, okay, that's it. I'm done waiting for rates to go down. I need to buy a house. Let's do this. We got really good showing activity there. We fell at the bottom of the trend line during December, and now we're back up. This is really, really, really good for the market. The reason being is we need showing activity to increase because inventory is increasing. As you can see, we hit a 5-year high in inventory. Actually, I believe this was actually a 10-year high in 2024, and we're already off the gates in 2025 with really high inventory. And so with that being said, we need to balance the market by ensuring there's enough buyer activity to match the increase in inventory. And that's what we're starting to see, or that's what we're already seeing. So all good things. The charts are looking great. They're looking fairly similar to previous years. And so with that, I love to see a healthy market. And from my perspective, when we look at seasonal trends, as long as these trend lines are kind of acting in the same way, that's a healthy market. The only thing I worry about, and I'm keeping an eye on, is this inventory to supply issue. That's why I really, really like the fact that we've got more houses this week going under contract than we do becoming available for sale. That ratio is important for the market to stay not just appreciating, to stay appreciating. If the market were to decline in value, it's typically going to be because we have more listings than we do buyers looking to buy. So with that, guys, thank you for joining. If you watch the whole thing, literally reach out to me. Let me buy you a coffee. Let me buy you lunch. Really means the world that you guys support the channel. Would highly encourage you guys subscribe. It helps more than you know. I believe we've got about 80 to 90% of the viewers on this channel that are unsubscribed, and I want to change that. I'm here for the long run. We're going to continue to pump out content, really great stuff that will enable you to make the best real estate decisions possible. Thank you for joining, and I can't wait to see you next year when we have thousands of people on these, and we're answering live questions.